we head up the ladder a couple of divisions to Obsidian.
Yep. Right now we've got Daheadhunter versus Silverthorn.
Yeah, very exciting in Obsidian. And Obsidian's had a number of dropouts so far, so that's going to jumble things a little bit, but both these players kind of in the middle of that. And we're kind of seeing the same thing out of both of them that we see in a lot of these middling divisions, which is snipers winning about 2/3 of the time and the better spies winning between 40 and 50% of the time, which describes both these players. So far, both these players have played very, very similarly overall, numbers-wise.
Absolutely. And we're going to hop into the picks and bans in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so early in the season, what's interesting looking at the Headhunter is that they've picked several different venues more than once, but they usually ban Terrace. That's what they like to ban for the most part. Silverthorn, on the other hand, has been picking larger venues, Library and Modern in particular, but also banning Veranda. So weird little distinction there. Generally, if you like one of those, you tend to like the other ones, but they do play in subtly different ways. So every now and then you get a split.
All right. To start with the bans, we had Daheadhunter banning Library.
Oh boy. Okay. That's the first for them.
And then Silverthorn banning Veranda. So again, you see the big maps getting banned. Exactly the same two bans as last game.
Yeah, good point.
And then Courtyard for the doubled map for Daheadhunter, and Modern for Silverthorn.
There we go. Modern, Silverthorn's most picked venue. I'm ready when you guys are.
And then to finish off, we got Daheadhunter picking Ballroom, and then Silverthorn picking Terrace to close things out.
Terrace again. All right.
All right.
Ballroom Terrace get to make a comeback.
Yeah. That could be very interesting if it's a close match.
But we do get a couple of new ones to open things up. Starting with Courtyard. Any 4 of 7 is going to be where we open things up. Silverthorn on the Spy. The Headhunter on the Sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we don't have a lot of data yet on Courtyard and Challenger because there's only been a handful of Challenger matches. But so far, it's one of, I think, let me see, just a few divisions where it's slightly Spy favored.
Okay, that was a bold attempt at the bug, especially considering the positioning of that laser. It was hanging around this side. Silverthorn goes for it anyways and gets bit for it.
So we saw bold bug after bold bug in the first match, and that flew in Challenger. But even just moving up a couple of divisions to Obsidian, you see what it gets you.
That was a different variety of bold bug.
that too, certainly.
All right, flip the script. The Headhunter on the Spy, Silverthorn on the Sniper for round number 2 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I mean, look, sometimes it's so counterintuitive it works. We've seen bugs like that work before. It feels silly when it doesn't work, and it feels brilliant when it does. You never really know until you try.
That is true. Stepping in for the first flirt at a slight distance, White Test gives us 28% from the window.
And we joke that people open with a flirt on so many venues, Courtyard in particular, but notice all those troubles finishing flirt in the previous match, and it didn't actually happen very often. Often because they didn't make getting that first flirt a priority the way people do in most other divisions. Subtle differences in the way spies play at different levels.
I think he wanted that contact, but as soon as he started moving, so did the double agent. Winds up going into statues instead, picks up a highlight, and a pair of inspects.
Yeah, pretty standard on Courtyard. If there's a better highlight strategy on Courtyard, I don't know if I found it yet.
Rather slow game so far. Never mind, as I say it, green purloin at the window. I don't know if that was on camera even.
It was, but not much, and I think the problem was Silverthorn had every reason to be staring that Amba down because they were smushed on top of the other twin
Purloin
and very
has been
vulnerable.
Taken, but we just walked into the conversation with Toby to looking for this next flirt.
Yeah, I think they were watching that amber really close because they were so vulnerable while that was all going off. And it happened at windows, which is so easy to miss sometimes.
Green test on the second, up to 79%. We take an innocent drink after the fact, but has the damage been done? We're still highlight here.
I mean, you've already inspected. Obviously, the other prompt for the shot is the banana bread, but I just don't see any indication that they've narrowed this down enough. Only a few lowlights have come off.
We'll see how this winds up shaking out. It's a tenuous situation for both players. Under 1 minute now.
Yeah, here's the real problem. When you're going to banana bread, look at this. You're the only statue.
Banana bread.
And not on camera!
They split before it happens. And they've got one more flirt to go, and it's hard to imagine they're going to get shot for a talk here.
Especially when they were not seen in conversation with a double agent.
Yeah,
There's
and the fact that they see them leave suggests they weren't a huge suspect before. Wow!
The shot comes off! Silverthorn on it a lot more than we thought he was, and somehow manages to keep it even.
I think that was a tentative shot. It's a good shot, good on them, but the laser movement, the timing, the way the whole thing played out, if they weren't actively baiting all that and had a great feel for the flirt, which is just very hard to imagine, I think they were just pondering that and thinking about it and didn't want to take the shot, but took it anyway. I think that's like a 50 to 60% shot. I don't think that's an especially confident shot, but it is the right shot, and they count the same.
That is the kind of shot that makes snipers terrifying. When you don't know, when it's a hard situation, when you know you're probably going to lose the game on this shot, but it's still the best chance you have. It is so hard to pull the trigger in situations like that, and it's the really scary snipers who can.
It's having the humility to know you missed something and realize exactly what you said, that even though the odds of this shot being right may or may not be above 50%, and we don't know how confident they were, but even if it's not above 50%, even though it's probably the wrong shot, it might be your best chance at 30 or 40 or whatever you calculate it to be if you don't know where that purloin came from and you're just trying to salvage a game based on what a spy might do to finish it. And when you've got that in your bones and you've got that feeling about how spies like to finish their games, sometimes you can save a lost game. And that might have been what happened there.
That is a huge shot for Silverthorn in the first sniper game of the match. It's 1-1. Now he's back on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, these are replays. We don't have audio, but I felt like I could almost hear the exhale when that window popped up.
You're not wrong.
I've taken those shots before, and they are simultaneously the best and worst shots you take.
34% on the first flirt at windows, but that was definitely max range 34%.
Weird little thing, Headhunter went to highlight a twin for statues and missed. I think they highlight between their outstretched arms.
Wow.
Or they thought better of it, and now neither of them are getting up. No, now they're not doing statue highlights at all, but I clearly saw them stop as if they were highlighting and then didn't do it.
Very strange indeed. Second flirt, another white, brings us up to 68%, this time in an actual conversation.
And if they're not highlighting for statue visitors, that might be tricky because 3 people have visited already.
Ambassador decides to get snuggly. So does the seduction target. We don't take the flirt. We don't hit the bug, although we've tried it. Highlight for statue when we haven't been highlighting for statues tells me that Headhunter is on top of this bug and is very worried about Silverthorn.
Yeah, maybe. Actually low-lit the twin for going to both statues roughly back-to-back, then highlight the other twin for going to statues just once normally, and as you mentioned, highlighting for statues suddenly, it seems like the norm, but missed Buns and Orange Sari there, or at least decided not to. Maybe deliberately not highlighting early statue visitors is the idea here.
Either way, the inspects are done. As we step back into the conversation, the flirt is now done. Minute and 15 seconds. We still need to contact and find some sort of hard tell.
Yeah, Obsidian folks get that seduce done a little earlier on average, I think.
Seems that way to be sure. Stepping into conversation with a double agent now, 1 minute to play.
And once we hit this, we're going to be in the standard scenario, aren't we?
Seems that way. 45 seconds. Here comes the contact. Suspected
Banana
double
bread.
agent not in conversation, just coming in from a briefcase trip.
I think we might have interrupted ourselves to do that banana bread too, not sure. Doesn't look like we're the hugest suspect here, though.
Under 30 seconds now. Where is the hardtail coming from? That is the million-dollar question. 15 seconds.
Amba's on the other side and not in a very buggable position. The guest list is making its way around. A highlight could reject here, and if they do, that you might want a purloin. They're going to take instead. Not many options.
5 seconds. It's going to be a desperation bug in the waning moments of the game. It comes off, but so does the shot, and daheadhunter keeps the sniper games coming.
And justifies their name. That's right in the cranium. They were sitting on that. They were waiting for that to happen, for that beeline to happen there. There was no hope that that was going to work, even though it was pretty good all in all.
Yeah, that was not a bad bug, but not good enough, as Silverthorn has to step back behind the rifle again to try to keep things tied up at 2 in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Early time ad, opening the game with a green watch check. Gonna give daheadhunter a bit of extra room to work with.
And this is weird. Go to Windows again. So you're at Windows when they could theoretically be noticing the time dilation. I don't know about that.
Didn't watch check, though, just took a sip.
Yeah. But if they're not sure when it happened, if they're just noticing the time and they start looking around to see who's at Windows, there's a risk there for sure.
Takes the fingerprint on the statues. Takes a couple of inspects to go with it. I fully actually only gets the one inspect off.
Well, the Amba's at the other statue, so you have a chance to finish inspects and get that other fingerprint simultaneously, and maybe even lose a little bit of heat if they don't notice the fingerprint, because now you've been to both statues, and spies don't usually do that.
That is very true.
I don't know if that was deliberate or not. They might have just been a little bit worried about finishing in time after the fingerprint, maybe didn't scroll very quickly, something like that, but let's see if they notice that print is there.
Just barely too far away on this flirt. Green test hits 48%. That stings a bit.
It doesn't have to sting preemptively. I know it could
Look,
sting.
he's back at statues.
Banana bread.
Now we can
boy.
get the second fingerprint from the same statue we've already gone to.
That's actually really interesting. That's better, for sure.
Although it'll be fresher.
Yeah, there's a bit of trade-off. I'm not sure which is better then, to be honest with you.
Well, here comes the second flirt. Bit of a distance once more. We've got one person in between us, so even if we were able to hit 51% on the first, this would not be enough, especially on the white test for 78% now. Although, if we wait a few moments, we should be able to step into that statue and get 3
The ambassador says, hang on, that fingerprint's getting a little old. The sniper might be forgetting about it. Let me freshen it up for you.
The ambassador has now touched 4 statues, 3 of which were all the same statue. What are you doing, sir?
He's just smooshing his hands all over that thing. I don't know what he's got for that falcon, but apparently that statue is just fascinating. You should be able at that point, I think, to get 3 fingerprints in one visit. Not that you need more than 2.
Contact done, flirt done, stepping into the statue to finish up the second 2 missions as well. Here's the inspect. Here's the fingerprint. Silverthorn, he may be looking at it, but he's not reacting. It's not going to be a shot, and daheadhunter is able to keep things... Actually, I think he's ahead now, isn't he?
I've lost track already in all the confusion. Let's ask the ambassador. They've been moving around. Good grief. All those fingerprints, I wonder if it's one of those things where the sniper just says, okay, the ambassador's been all over the place. I'm not sure what they've touched. I'm just going to hope they're not fingerprinting this game. Something like that. Whatever it is, even though they probably had a good beat on that last fingerprint, there were so many floating out there. So many people probably could have theoretically finished it if you're not watching it closely enough. So there it is.
Yeah. Either way, it's daheadhunter up 3-1 as we step into Modern. I just skipped one too many games. Give me a second.
That's just fine.
Okay, we're fine. I'm back in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And it's the fast character on the big venue.
It certainly is.
I would say Ponytail there gets picked a little more often than average or random on Modern.
Opening the game at blue bookcase, which is a little bit unusual. Takes that book right on out and looks for the first flirt. 51% on said flirt as well, so that's pretty nice.
There we go. With the extra 30 seconds on Modern, it's not much of a problem to get the seduce done if you make steady progress, but you'll take what you can get. It's certainly helpful, especially because it's really hard to get away with time ads on this venue.
Just sort of hanging around, quite likely looking for a timer flirt here. Slow starts to a game when you are actually making progress. That's what you want as Spy. But seduction target is not going to hang around for the timer flirt.
And since we have a little bit of downtime here, I'll just point out these Challenger players that we cast earlier, they play a lot. 2 more Challenger matches were uploaded while we started casting.
Jesus.
Yeah, they are playing a ton in a very short period of time. They're going to be good in no time. They're already pretty good. They're going to get even better.
3 minutes left to play. Blue book still in hand. Half a flirt done. Seduction target comes right on back to us, so we get that timer flirt anyways. Although this one's only a white test for 85%.
Yeah, second time tonight the seduction target has helped the Spy with the cooldown.
Contact comes off as well. Relatively early on, lets off a number of lowlights, 6 now.
Well, not too bad. The nice thing is that the SDAs were pretty evenly distributed and a fair number of people could have a reel, but Headhunter didn't seem particularly concerned with that. They were more concerned about getting those hard lowlights, and they got most of them, I think.
Certainly seems that way. 2 minutes and 15 on the clock. Now stepping into conversation with the seduction target once more. The distance doesn't matter, because even the worst flirt is still going to be enough. Unless it's a red test, because that's not a flirt at all.
This distance matters. They're way too far away now.
Oh, safety off on the seduction target. Actually just takes the shot. Doesn't feel like waiting.
Jeez. Well, it's the red flirt, and they dump the book afterwards. And it just looks really suspicious, is all it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely seems that way. Silverthorn given a bit of a gift. Possibly his ticket back into a tie game as he steps in to the sniper side of things. daheadhunter looking to maintain his lead from the ground. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And in Obsidian, snipers are winning on Modern about 53% of the time so far this season. So that's significant, but that's much less than the overall SCL average, which is 64% across seasons 4 and 5.
daheadhunter also starting out the game at blue bookcase. Although seems to be spending a bit more time here, so less likely to step away with the book. Look at where the seduction target is. This is the same game.
Yeah, this is okay, so we tease the challengers for having trouble finishing their flirt. What we didn't mention is that if you are in any other division, the seduction target just comes to you.
Okay, now General has to walk away and then come back again, and the second flirt's going to be white.
Yeah, that's the rule. That's how it works, right?
47% is a little bit less fortunate. Then,
Oh.
oh my god, he left!
That's step one is
Yeah,
complete.
it's the same game, although the headhunter forgot to actually grab the blue book, so he's going back to pick it up before a seduction target returns.
Right.
He's a little bit off script.
Yep. Yep, it's just a little different every time. You know, you don't want to be too obvious about it.
Yeah, exactly. The headhunter with some very roundabout paths on the way into this innocent conversation, though. Seduction target almost made it back to the same conversation as well.
Yep, you'll take statues instead. Look at all these highlights already for statue visits. That's going to be
Absolutely.
hard to wrangle. If the banana bread is good and a lot of them stay in the party, stay in the suspect pool, that's going to be very hard to manage late in the game, and it means you can get away with some really aggressive stuff because the sniper has way too much to look for.
Stepping back into red bookcase to put this away. Does Silverthorn remember where this book came from? No, because he just marked it as red.
Oh, dear. I mean, of course it's red because he's at red
clearly.
bookcase.
Yep,
It's like he didn't see him approach it, actually.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Wow. All right, so that's free, but there's only 2 minutes left, and you still need at least 2 more flirts. You don't have partial progress on fingerprint or inspect. You don't have a delegate in your pocket.
Well,
this could be trouble fast.
Flirt, but it's gonna be a distance. Never mind.
Ah.
Seduction target is mad that the headhunter broke the script at the beginning of the game.
He said, I came back to the conversation and you weren't there, so I went to statues instead, and now I'm mad.
Yeah. Stepping in to statues to start making up some ground and takes a highlight for his troubles.
Yeah, but they're the 9th, and then they're followed quickly by a twin as the 10th highlight. So, you know, I think you'd stand out more if you were neutral, at least numerically.
Minute and 30 now. Another innocent conversation. We can't afford to keep doing this.
Yeah, and if you're watching the party and you're assuming statue highlights, you know that there are a ton of suspects right now. Now is the time to be aggressive. You can get away with a lot, potentially, if you're smart about it.
And that's the plan. Oh, it's 98% on the flirt.
Ugh. Could be worse. Just barely. But pretty bad.
Pretty bad indeed. Picking up a delegate from the bar. And can't even chase the seduction target because he's at windows now. He wouldn't make it in time. Under a minute to play, still only the one completion. This is a very bad situation for the headhunters. And seduction target teases him, but does not feel like assisting.
We might be
40 seconds to play.
We might be about to win if you just banana bread and force a shot, because there's so many suspects, but right now there's no reason to shoot. So what you really need to do is do that and give them a chance to shoot. Of course, a purloin's another way to do that, but you really need to do both and force their hand with all these suspects.
Delegate. 20 seconds to play now.
He's got to dump the book first. This is going to take a while. You got a banana bread now. They're not going to shoot for the purloin, I don't think.
Oh, as the seduction target was coming into his conversation, he steps away. It's under 10 seconds. It's too late for the fake contact. It's coming off anyways.
Banana bread.
But it's real contact, actually, but it's still not going to be enough. Even if the purloin comes off, it's still not enough. Even if he finishes that flirt, it's still not enough.
No, it's not. And that party was out of control on the sniper side. I think if they banana bread with anywhere from 2 minutes to 30 seconds left, there's a very decent chance that a shot comes off, especially if you combine it with that purloin. Way too cautious, and then there's just no reason to shoot at the end, even though the party activity had given you such a gift. Look at all those glowing party goers.
Yeah. Yeah, that was well over half of the guests' highlight there.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's Silverthorn's turn on the spy side, and he's going to play it small in 3, 2, 1, playing it. What? It's the blue bookcase again, Track.
What is it with... Spies are going to blue bookcases so often, it's like they're bringing pages to Akinar.
Yep, although section target's in a bit of a different spot this time, so it's not quite the same script, but it's close, especially since we didn't hit the green there. It's only 33% on the first flirt. This is weird. What is happening?
don't know.
Eyeing up the double agent a little bit here, but looks like he's going to try to milk out a timer flirt first.
So if you're going to timer flirt, the fact that you have that book early too, combine those two facts, and it strongly suggests that book is going somewhere other than blue.
It does indeed. Second is green. So instead of green then white, we get white then green. We're at 83% on the flirt.
Close enough. It's the same 3 or 4 elements, just in a slightly different order every time, to keep it
Right.
fresh.
Now we have to put the book away at blue.
I mean, just to confuse us, right? Yeah, just to confuse us. Well, where's he headed? Oh, big moment of truth. Looks like
it's
green to me.
Which is good because we're real small. We've got Taft in front of us. It's
That helps.
invisible. No
didn't
idea we're even there.
You didn't need much occlusion, but you've got it in this, in the form of someone literally 4 times your size.
That was pretty great.
How many small men in that brown blazer would it take to create one Taft? A few.
Certainly a few. 83% on the flirt, and the transfer is done. 2 minutes and 15 left to play as we step into the bar, looking to pick up a delegate.
And there's a bit of a bar rush, and that works. And you're just sort of behind a lot of these people in conversations. It's totally plausible you're not going to be seen, and you're going to get a fingerprint in the meantime. And suddenly, things are looking kind of up.
Yeah, fingerprint off the drink, is very nice to see. Those aren't easy to catch.
And why would you be in this conversation except
To delegate to somebody.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Which means this twin was chosen for the honor/horror.
And away he goes.
Godspeed.
The timer is something to pay attention to, though. We're at 1 minute and 30 left to play, and still only the one completion. Mind you, the Purloin's about to come off. There it is. What's the reaction from the headhunter? That's the reaction from the headhunter. The shot comes off, and Silverthorn ties things up at 3.
Yeah, and that's just a little aggressive. We have not heard the banana bread. There's over 1 minute left. As far as I could tell, the twin was not. There's no reason for twin to be a massive suspect there. But I think that maybe is just a reaction to not expecting the Purloin to come off then, being a little caught off guard, and when that happens, sometimes you have to make those split-second decisions. And that's a big win for Silverthorn.
I have confused myself with regards to the scoreline, because there's one game left on Modern, and which means it's not tied at 3, which means I'm confused.
Okay, you confused me too. We're up 4-3. 4-3
Okay.
Silverthorn. Okay,
Yeah.
you confused me. I was like, no, there's 2 more games. No, what's going on?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right. Well, 4-3. Silverthorn's favor is the current scoreline as the headhunter. Wait, wasn't the headhunter up 3-1?
That is
I think
correct.
so.
3 straight.
I think so, yeah.
All right. Well.
Yep.
And 2 of them a spy.
The headhunter shot someone for delegating, shot somebody for putting a book back when red flirting, and then Silverthorn shot, and then the headhunter timed out. There we go. Now we're on track.
God dang. All right.
Count us in.
Well, let's see if Silverthorn can make it 4 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Usually when you get a win streak, it means you snuck in a spy win with a couple of sniper wins on either side, which isn't necessarily that remarkable. In this case, Silverthorn did it the hard way. 2 spy wins, 1 sniper win.
Slow start, just finishing off that drink at the front windows, and is now briefcasing, it looks like, actually. Nope, just going for the flirt, and it's not gonna happen. So watch checks and add some time to the match instead before stepping into statues.
Totally off screen. Silverthorn is totally preoccupied with A, guarding the ambassador, and B, granularly marking these books on the early takes. I think that was just free.
Into statues we go. For a pair of inspects, we get the highlights, as usual. Wide paths.
Wow. And I thought that sudden turn, it's a little wonky, but I thought, okay, fair enough. You saw where the seduction target's going and you want to get that flirt in. Doesn't decide to do it, though.
Neutral lit, actually, interestingly enough, as he steps into blue bookcase.
Blue bookcase, where all the interesting books are, apparently. I wonder if it was a misclick. There was an incident earlier when they were marking books, as I mentioned early on, where they accidentally low-lit Queen trying to click the book. I wonder if they were trying to mark the book and accidentally neutral-lit Headhunter instead and didn't notice. It did happen earlier.
It could have been. Now in conversation with the double agent.
And now if you finish those inspects without that highlight and Silverthorn doesn't remember, that could be a really big deal.
Could indeed.
On the other hand, they were staring at you at blue for a long time, so yeah, a little safer to put it back.
Yep. Here we are again.
The pull of the blue bookshelf. It's irresistible, Tobo.
Certainly seems that way, as we're sort of staring longingly at the seduction target across the shelf. Now stepping in to statues to pick up a pair of inspects, although we did not go grab the one the ambassador was just at, so... Actually, we only needed the one extra inspect. Forgot about that.
Yep, and as far as Silverthorn might be concerned, that's their first visit, and that's
in the end of
big.
red.
Indeed. Contact comes off right afterwards. Because of the briefcase, it looked very much like both the double agent were in the same conversation, which can't happen.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I think there were only 3 hard lowlights available, but as you see, Silverthorn takes more than that. And, well, whether it's wise or just risky, it turns out none of them are the spy, so it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got over half the party lowlit now.
Yeah, that's a problem, because only 2 Softails are done. There's no flirt progress, by the way, no fingerprint, and even though you probably kind of get that inspect for free, you don't have enough time to necessarily capitalize on it.
Absolutely. There was a fingerprint available that we didn't take. Well, we went to the wrong statue for, I mean.
And General, the ST, being uncooperative again. Same ST as last time.
Only a minute and 20 seconds remain. We have sent someone to Purloin for us, but I don't think it's going to have time to come off as Silverthorn takes the shot and takes the lead.
I think they messed up that idol. It looks like they were trying to head to the ST, and when it didn't work out, they just sort of hung around. Let me see here. No. Iris joins at the end, and then almost immediately leaves, delegated to, and that doesn't make any sense unless it's the spy. What a catch from Silverthorn. That's a really good thing to notice.
Yeah, absolutely. And now he's up 5-3 as we step in to the ballroom. Silverthorn opening things up on the spy side of things, daheadhunter on the sniper. And daheadhunter, after a very strong start, loses 4 in a row. Needs to start making some sort of comeback in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Silverthorn is going to do the usual thing and open with a flirt, although with just barely too much distance, gets 48%.
Reminder, this was Headhunter's pick, and now they need to capitalize on it.
Absolutely. Silverthorn went 4-0 on his pick. Daheadhunter 3-1.
And normally you go 3-1 in your pick, you think you're in pretty good shape, but you get swept on the next one, suddenly it's reversed. And we're going back and forth, and there's no more margin now. You're running out of time. You need to capitalize here on Ballroom.
White test on the timer flirt brings us up to 80. Slow start from Silverthorn, but we've got lots of progress on that flirt. Do not want to be rushing it at the end. And the nice thing about flirting early is you don't really take suspicion for it.
No, probably not. A handful of people will pair you for it, but even that, a little bit of witchcraft sometimes. Usually you can get at least one for free.
There's the reverse drive-by bug as the ambassador takes a beautiful little path between conversations and Silverthorn capitalizes.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of cover there. You've got white dress in front. You've got the pillar. The angle you're standing in the conversation just makes it so hard to see.
Now stepping into bookcase with the seduction target. White Test will finish that up. That's 2 mission completions. Green book in hand. Getting a fingerprint off of it. On a difficult fingerprint off of it, by the way. Silverthorn has put himself in a beautiful, beautiful position with 1:10 to play.
Yeah, the flirt and the difficult fingerprint, and I like that Silverthorn gets that bug and a few seconds later decides, well, I guess I'm ahead. Time to press the advantage, and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely, in conversation with the double agent now. A suspected double agent is chilling out windows.
Yeah, suspiciously short path into that conversation, too, and nothing happening yet.
Here's the call. Oh no! This could be it! It's all falling apart! The
covered by the pillar!
Comes off! It was visible!
Only at the very end. Only at the very end.
Moving at a bad moment.
Yup, Headhunter, the pillar was between them and Queen when it started, but the hand was on screen at the very end. But if they weren't looking exactly then, most of the animation was covered by the pillar. Once again, White Dress and the pillar helping Silverthorn.
It's going to be a fingerprint at the side statue. I assume that's going to be enough as the mission win countdown is on 5 seconds and we have no reaction from the Headhunter and Silverthorn. Averting disaster on the red test contact pulls out yet another game to bring the scoreline to 6-3.
The two pivotal moments of that game are the bug and the red BB that doesn't get them shot, and both times between the spy and the sniper is A, white dress, and B, a pillar. The two of them running interference during those two pivotal moments, although you could say the third one, getting the flirt and the difficult fingerprint at that green shelf was maybe just as big, but even though the hand was visible as they rotated around that pillar, they'd have to be looking right then because the pillar covered most of it.
From 3-1 down to 6-3 up, Silverthorn has bought himself 3 match points. The Headhunter is going to try to make sure he needs them in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And that one, I think, is going to sting more than the others. There were some genuine mistakes in some of the other games that you can point to as the sniper if you're Headhunter and say, I could have done this a little bit better. But in that one, obviously you could have had better angles, but things just kept lining up perfectly for the spy.
It's very true. That is a hard game to win as any sniper. The Headhunter moving real fast because we're Taft. Steps all the way into center statues, picks up a flirt while we're at it for 34%, and looks to acquire a suite of inspects. Takes a while to start the last one, but the number of green tests that happens, it doesn't matter.
And we've got a big highlight on a big guy, but we got plenty of progress already early in the game.
Absolutely. Just under 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to play, and we already have a flirt, and the inspect's done. Into green bookcase we go. Let's see what we make of this.
Well, obviously they've decided the blue bookcase meta is just way too dangerous.
So it would seem. Under 2 minutes now. Green book in hand. Gonna try to get a flirt off at the windows. Does not come off. Section target steps away. So we just watch check instead.
And time is a little sketchy now, especially if we're not planning on putting this book back in the charming blue bookshelves.
We are. Back in the green bookcase we go. We're under 1 minute and 30 and still only have that one completion. No progress since the beginning of the game.
Yeah, a big burst of progress and then nothing since, and there's just a minute left. You can still finish this, but there are only a handful of ways now. You boxed yourself in a little bit.
Time to motor. This is an innocent conversation, but we have requested a drink. I think it's going to be a purloin. The bug, as the ambassador comes in, it's going to be spiraling into a purloin here, I think. It is indeed. It's a white test purloin. We're the only one around. Not checking the tray, though.
Not looking at all, and you still need 2 flirts, though. Even after all this, you're not on the verge of winning.
40 seconds to play.
Civ Shot might do it, though. Civ Shot feels pretty likely at this point.
Takes a briefcase from right under the ambassador's foot.
First fingerprint at 30 seconds?
That's all he needs. Go to the green bookcase. Get that last fingerprint. Gulps the drink. 20 Heading back to green bookcase. Should have enough time for this. 15 on the clock.
Bug path. After the bug is done.
On the clock. It's going to be overtime. Oh, wait. No, he has to put it back first.
Yep.
Oh no, everything's falling apart at the end. We both forgot how fingerprints work at bookcases.
I didn't even see it happen. I was just taking your word for it.
I didn't notice he took the book out.
I can't believe Silverthorn held that shot, though, too. As far as I can tell, they completely missed the purloin. Bug and purloin back to back, boom, boom, and we still don't finish. I think going for a fingerprint with 30 seconds left is just a mistake. I mean, I understand it in the moment, but you have 34% on the flirt, right? That's not easy. You're gonna have to do something really aggressive, but the aggressive flirt there is definitely better than 2 fingerprints real quick.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I cannot believe we, after a start like that, we let that time get away from us that badly.
So 2 things to look at in the top left corner. 2 hard tells done. Partial progress on 2 soft tells. And not contact, by the way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No contact.
That's
where was the double agent at the end of that game?
Let me see. They were at statues.
Fair enough.
Yeah, let me see. It's statues. Before that, they were alone in a conversation with about right around the time they were picking up the first fingerprint. The double agent was alone in conversation. It wasn't a good time to BB, but given the alternatives, I think it would more than suffice.